You asked for it, so here it is. Let's compare the HORI Split Pad Compact with the MOBAPAD M6 HD. So both of these actually have two different versions. So this is the HORI Split Pad Compact, which of course means it's compact because the not so compact one is the Split Pad Pro. So the Split Pad Pro is this one just here, big beefy one, and the HORI Split Pad Compact is the smaller one. And obviously I can see why you wanted to see the difference between the compact and the M6 HD. Now the HD just here also has a different version, which is this one, which is the S. So this is the M6 S, slightly less features than the HD, but we're gonna go with the best of the best here. Now, it's been a while since I've covered the Split Pad Compact in detail, at least. I did a review of these when they launched, which was a long time ago. I actually even imported these from Japan myself, like the second they launched before they came to the Western market. Of course, that's because I got the Gengar ones, which are amazing. Like, they look so cool. I love these still to this day. I'm just disappointed by they just don't really have any features, especially in comparison to the MOBAPAD M6 HD. So these are pretty old now, but these are the latest thing, and these are basically what I'm deeming the best Joy-Con you can get right now. However, let's take a look at the specifications. Straight away, the HORI Split Pad Compact just here are officially licensed. So these are actually licensed by Nintendo and Pokemon with HORI to have, you know, all these different designs. So now you can actually get the compacts in so many different designs, Sonic ones, Mario ones, like they do all sorts of stuff, and they're really, really good quality. You know, they're very, very nice feel. The joystick caps and stuff and the joysticks themselves are super smooth and really nice. Like, the actual detail on these things are lovely. They're really, really well made. But again, these are a bit old and outdated now. So it's probably easier for me to tell you what these don't have. And that is, they don't have NFC. They are not wireless, so they only work when attached on the Switch. That's it. You can't use these as an independent controller unless you buy one of their attachments here, which then makes it wired, so you can only use it that way. There's no rumble, there's no macro, there's no gyro, pretty much nothing. All these have is an actual D-pad, larger joysticks than the official Joy-Cons. They also have a turbo button and an assign button, which is turbo is to assign to any button on either respective side. So turbo on this side, you know, and the buttons on this side, or vice versa. And turbo just repeatedly presses a button for you. But we do have assignable back paddles. So the back paddles just here, you can swap a button to and then assign turbo to, so you can do that. But again, it has to be right side to right paddle and vice versa on the other side, right? And that's it. Like, that's basically it. They are really, really, really basic. Like, you can't use these with any motion control games, not even whilst they're attached to the Switch. They don't even work like that. So they are super duper basic, but you're getting a licensed product, and yeah, more on their feel and stuff in a moment. Then that leads us over to the MOBAPAD M6 HD, and this is the opposite way. What don't these have? Well, they don't have the IR sensor in the right Joy-Con. And that's it. These have everything and more than the official Joy-Con. So these do have NFC. These actually have HD rumble, not even just standard rumble. This has HD rumble. They've got a Hall effect sensing joysticks, whereas the HORI do not have Hall effect sensing joysticks. So these will never drift. So Hall effect sensing joysticks means they are using magnets instead of physical contact and friction to input the signal, and that means that they just won't drift. So not only that, but the joysticks have really nice joystick caps, which are also removable, so you can even replace these. On top of that, on each side, we've got different gates. So you've even got face plates just here, which lets you remove them and then swap the gate over. So the gate is this. Look how that's turned into an octagonal gate, so it like basically inputs more like a D-pad. But if you don't want that, then you've also got circular ones, which is what I rock myself. On the other side, we also have the different gates that you can swap, but we also have a swappable D-pad, so you can either use this dome one or you can go for a more traditional D-pad just here. So the dome one's really good for fighting games where you need to spin around and roll and stuff, whereas this is probably slightly better for platforming games. They've got mechanical switches. So these actually have mechanical switch inputs, just like a mouse input, rather than the membrane, which is found in these ones. So these, you're typically looking at about 1 million click lifespan before the buttons will degrade. These have a 10 million click lifespan because they are using Omron gaming mice mechanical switches in the face buttons and in the triggers and bumpers as well. These are actually wireless, so they have gyro as well, but you can use these wirelessly, and these have a 17-hour battery life versus the 0 battery life of these. These also have assignable back paddles, and these have macros, so you can actually record a series of input and assign it to one of those back paddles, and then it will do it for you, and you can even turbo that, so it will just do it for you indefinitely. These also have button swap as well, so you can assign a different button to the back, and these have an app for updating as well, and also for swapping buttons over. So you can even assign buttons from the right side to the left side back paddle using the app and vice versa, which is, they're just absolutely so specced out, it is ridiculous. So out of spec wise, yeah, the MOBAPADs win, but the MOBAPADs are not officially licensed, so you won't be able to buy them in pretty much every store like you can with these. Pretty much every store here in the UK at least will stock these, and you can buy them online at pretty much every retailer, whereas for the MOBAPADs you have to import these from China, whether you're in America or not. But there you go. So I'd say quality control wise, you're probably gonna have better luck with the HORI, but the MOBAPADs are so good. They really are. I cannot stress enough. I just wish these hadn't come out like right at the end of the Switch life cycle. If these came out when these came out, that would have been absolutely mad. Oh, and let me introduce to you our merchandise. If you'd like to support the channel, we've got 128KB merch, which you'll find underneath this video. Go check it out. There's loads of cool stuff on there. But in terms of feel, let's have a look. So of course, the HORI Split Pad Compacts just here are miles better than the official Joy-Con. The official Joy-Con are so crampy and horrible. I mean, we all know that by now, right? But the HORI Split Pad Compact just here have really, really nice ergonomics. They are better suited to medium to small hands. That's why they've made them. Because, you know, the actual big ones, the Pros just here, are much bigger, but they're still quite slim. If you look at both of them, they're quite slim. So they're way more comfortable than the official Joy-Con. They sit in your hands nicely. This right stick is far over, so because of the asymmetrical design, you need to have this as far over to the left as possible, or the horn right here to kick out as much as possible so that you can get a nice ergonomic grip, and that does that. And the MOBAPADs just here take it to the next level. So whilst these are slightly more compact, again, if we just quickly compare against this, you can see they're still a lot smaller against the Split Pad Pros, but they are more sort of design-wise to the compacts. However, these are still really comfortable. If anything, they're actually more comfortable, and that is because they are chonky. They are chonky boys, right? So let's take the left one, and the left one, look how big boy style that MOBAPAD is. It's double the width nearly of the compacts. It is just a big chonky boy, and you can see with the shadow just there how much this kicks out, right? Like, look at that. Like, that is a beefcake of a Joy-Con. It really, really is. It's a lot bigger than the compacts. It's heavier as well, but it makes it way more comfortable. It really does. These sit in your hands beautifully because of how big this big old chonk is. Like, it just sits in your hands so nicely. Whereas these are still really nice when you're comparing them to the original Joy-Con. They feel and fit lovely. They really, really do. But these are just a lot nicer in my opinion. They're way more ergonomic. They kick out a little bit more down to this right side, which means that your thumb angle here is even more comfortable than this one just here as well. And the other thing I forgot to mention is the joysticks on these have anti-friction rings, both around the gate and also the metal around the actual joystick, which makes these super duper smooth. Obviously, these are actually still at risk of drifting because these just have potentiometer module joysticks here, whereas these have the Hall effect sensing ones, which are a lot nicer. So shape-wise, they're very, very, very similar. The MOBAPADs are still bigger. They are still bigger. And you can see that we've actually got this kick-out piece here, which supports the back of the Switch, but they didn't put any like rubber or padding on there. there. So some people are complaining that this scratches your Switch, but it's to give support on the rail. So when the Switch is in, this is not like, you know, gonna break the rails. It's kind of pushing against that back piece. But to be honest, I've never had an issue with this. And the MOBAPADs just here are by design really stiff to put on the Switch itself, and there's no wiggle or anything like that once they are attached. So button wise, you can see on the compacts just here, we actually have 2 extra buttons. We've got the screenshot button there, but then we have a sign to assign the back paddle to a button, and then we have turbo as well. Whereas on the MOBAPADs just here, we just have 1 additional button on the front, which is the cog, and that 1 button lets you do all the input changes, lets you record macro for the right side, lets you do button swap and turbo as well. Really like that aesthetically, just cleans it up a little bit more. Here's the backs as well, and you can see that this is angled more to fit the sort of direction of your finger when you're holding it, but there's nothing wrong with the back paddle on this one at all, but it is a lot mushier than the MOBAPAD. So the face buttons as well, we've just got standard, you know, mushy kind of membrane switches on these, but they are still nice. I don't dislike the buttons and feel of everything on the compacts. Like, it's all really quite nice actually, even though it is membrane and it is slightly mushy. They are all flat and they're all the same height as well. Whereas with the MOBAPAD, the A button scoops down and follows the curve of the actual controller, as hopefully you can see there, and they are all slightly domed as well, so they've got a like slight convex on them, and these are not mushy and horrible. These are actually mechanical switches. So mechanical switches make an audible click just like a mouse, and it could be a downside for you, but I really like it. Here you go. So that's what the MOBAPADs sound like, whereas the Split Pad Compact sound like this. So not as noisy, but not as quick to actuate. They're just not as good membrane buttons. And that also goes over to the triggers and bumpers. These are fine, like they are fine. They are slightly mushy as well, but they are fine. There's nothing wrong with these really in terms of feel. Whereas the MOBAPADs have those mechanical switches. There's like an added level of premium feel with these. There really is. But I would say the biggest thing for me is actually the fact that these are not wireless, these are wireless, and of course we've got to take into consideration battery. These, the compacts here by HORI, are leeches. They don't have any battery of themselves, so they are pulling the battery out of the Switch itself to power these. And whilst these are really low powered, you're still going to be losing battery life because the Switch is outputting more battery to do this, especially if you take into consideration, you know, you might have assignable back paddles and turbo going on. Well, then that's going to drain even more battery. Whereas these, just here, the MOBAPADs, these have a 17-hour battery life by themselves, plus the actual battery of the Switch. So you're getting a shed load of battery life just there. These aren't going to be pulling the battery out of the Switch if these are fully charged, because, you know, they've already got massive batteries inside them themselves. And of course they've got HD rumble, which means these actually have proper rumble, not just like standard rubbish rumble. These have HD rumble. Now the joysticks on both of them, again, I always loved the joysticks on the HORI stuff. They were, before Hall Effects joystick modules started becoming a regular thing, these were the best Joy-Cons you could buy at the time, especially with the Split Pad Pro as well. There was like very, very marginal dead zone, super accurate. These were the best for like FPS games and stuff like that at the time. However, now we've got Hall Effect sensing joysticks, which have a lot lower dead zone rate, so they are way more accurate, and the fact that they can't drift as well. These are just perfect. They are much better nowadays, but I still really like the compacts. You know, I do still really like the compacts. I still like them. I just love the designs on them. I just wish that HORI took it to that next level. Why didn't they like make them better? Why haven't you changed these yet? Why haven't you put HD rumble in them? Why haven't you put gyro in them? And it's because they're a licensed product. Like the cost would be so high, right? But you've got companies like MOBAPAD just here that are doing it better than anyone else. This wasn't a comparison against who's better, because the MOBAPAD was always going to win. But, you know, people were asking me, Andy, please compare these to the compacts because they're so very similar. And yes, they are. You know, the MOBAPADs are more expensive. These you can get on sale now for fairly cheap. And to be fair, you could always look at the MOBAPAD M6 S instead, which are cheaper. and I've got tons of videos about all these controllers. If you want to know more about the HORI Compact or the Pro or the M6 HD or the M6 S just here, look on the channel because I've done so much about them already. But if you want best of the best, then it's the MOBAPAD M6 HD. So which one do you prefer? Have you had the compacts and you're looking to upgrade for something better and you were waiting to see, you know, what these were like? If you've already got the compacts and you've been dealing with them for this long, maybe don't bother upgrading because the Switch 2 could be right around the corner. But at the same time, these could potentially be a good second pair of Joy-Cons for the Switch 2 if it accepts them. Who knows? But yeah, if you've not got anything yet and you're looking for which one should I buy, if you've got the money, I would definitely recommend the MOBAPAD stuff just because they have so much more features. And of course, support us by going down there, liking this video and subscribing as well. If you want to, you can buy some of our merchandise, which will be found down below this video as well. And of course, memberships are open and all tiers receive early access to all of these videos as well. And check out mine and AJ's podcast over here where we talk about all things gaming, and check out the respective videos here. Check out the HORI Split Pad Compact review and check out the M6 HD video over here as well. Thanks for watching.